I don't usually acquire clients in secondhand stores. Books, jackets, furniture, knickknacks, yes. Clients, not so much. I was lurking in the nook at Old Possum's Books and Beans, where the volumes about music, theater, and philosophy were currently kept. More a comment on the owner, Phoebe Mason's sense of humor, than any practical filing system, when a woman approached me. Even before I saw her, I felt the touch of her desperation and fear like a cloud of bad perfume. Her footsteps stuttered as she walked across the scarred old wooden floor, and I looked around and down to find the source of the uncertain sound. Thus, the first thing I actually saw were her shoes. Good quality leather loafers with low heels that had become unevenly worn, so each step wobbled just a bit. The dark brown leather scuffed along the sides and toes as if they'd been scraped repeatedly through rough stones. Her designer jeans were baggy at the knee, cinched in at the waist with a belt that didn't match the shoes, and fit like they'd been meant for a curvier body, while her blouse was so rumpled it appeared she'd misbuttoned it. I looked up to study her face, and saw a once lovely middle-aged woman with shoulder-length black hair, the gray roots leaving an undyed band about an inch wide along her part. Her cheekbones stood in high relief, hinting at some mix of Asian ancestors with taller Europeans, underskin that was dry, fine-lined, and too tight, as if she'd given up eating and was subsisting on nerves and dry toast. She stopped, her eyes widening as she bit her lip and stared at me for a second. Then she drew a deep breath and asked, "Are you the detective? A friend of Phoebe's?" Her question seemed to hang in the air, and I took a beat before I replied, frowning a little at the weight it seemed to add to the room. Phoebe had been my first friend in Seattle, but I answered hesitantly, not sure which role this woman expected me to fill, detective or friend. "I am." The fading ghost of a former customer wafted obliviously down the aisle and through the pair of us as we stood there. The woman didn't see it, but she twitched at its cold passage and gave me a deer-in-the-headlights stare, while a drained shimmer in shades of olive and charcoal around her told me she was terrified. For another moment we just blinked at each other, until I prompted her to tell me what she wanted. "What can I do for you?" I held back my desire to frown or look sideways at her to see whether she was entangled in the gray, since I thought either would seem unfriendly and drive this skittish creature away. "I need, I have a sister." She stopped and shook her head as if she could shake her words into the right order. "I need help. I came here because I'm desperate to find out what's happening. I was told I should talk to you." She wrung her hands as she babbled, her body slightly bent, stooped forward as if her chest ached. I touched her hand and felt a chill of distress twine up my fingers like the tendrils of a climbing vine. I didn't jerk away, though that was my first impulse. "It's all right." I started patting her hand very lightly and then closing mine over it to stop her churning motion. "Let's sit down and you can tell me about it." She returned a jerky nod, her hands stilling as she let her gaze slide away from mine. I led her down the aisle and around the corner to the coffee nook, where there were a few cushy armchairs set between a fake fireplace and the espresso counter. A 1/3 scale replica of a triceratops skull looked down on us from the wall above the espresso machine, just a few feet from a round traffic mirror that showed the alcove to whoever was manning the front desk. We were alone but not unobserved, and that was fine. One of the chairs was occupied by a massive golden feline that laid claim to being a house cat only because we'd never been able to prove it was a mountain lion. "Hump it, Simba," I ordered with a dismissive jerk of my head. With impressive languor and a yawn that showed off white fangs and a long tongue of barbed pink velvet, the cat flowed out of the chair and prowled off to intimidate one of the less